Hey, how's it going? Another show, another day. Hope you guys are doing good. I'm doing fantastic. Feeling over the moon. Over the moon, yet under the stars. That's how I'm feeling today. See if you can figure that one out. But anyway, we're gonna have a good show. A few couple announcements before we get into the show. I with the show, I've been feeling a little out of sorts, kind of trying to find the direction of the show. And so I think I'm going to make a slight change if anyone even cares, but I'm going to try to do one topic where I like have it down basically. Hopefully about the faith or history, politics, what have you. And then I'm just going to have a rant section where I just talk about whatever I want, not well researched. I mean, it probably was still researched a little bit, but just kind of a little rant session. That's for me. They're both for me, but the second part will be more for me. So I can just be me instead of trying to be someone else, I guess. I'm going to be me. I should just be me the whole time, but sometimes you got to be a little profesh. But I think it's going to be more casual. I'm going to try to make the show a little less stressful. Not that it was stressful, but I was worried about organization and different things, which it's good to be organized to an extent. But I hope this is making sense. So tonight we're going to be talking about the green scapular. Hopefully you know about the brown scapular. I know the brown scapular is pretty famous. I meet a lot of Catholics that have it. Low key, it's got to be on your body. Got to be next to your skin. I have mine on right now. I'll show you like the little string of it. That's the brown scapular, but the green scapular I think is a little more hidden. It's a hidden gem of sacramentals. So I wanted to talk about that. I was gonna get one. We have some, but I didn't. So I don't have a visual, but you can imagine a scapular that's green. But we're gonna be talking about that. So the greens first, before I talk about that, I want to talk. I just think it's interesting. Maybe other people don't, but maybe Protestants and people thinking about becoming Catholic will find this interesting. But the distinction with sacramentals between superstition and just devotion for sacramentals. So I want to just put a little distinction in there. So superstition, if people are not aware, as I understand it, is if you, especially for like an object, because we're doing sacramentals, if you have a superstition about an object, you will think this object itself has power. In this case, it'd be like power over God or over the saints, maybe power over evil spirits, demons, power over other powers that you think exist, powers over nature, stuff like that. And superstition would be you think that the power lies within the object. So maybe a good example is like you think a crystal itself has some sort of supernatural power to alter the weather or something like that. I honestly don't know what people do with crystals. I know it's a thing. I know people are into that. I should have asked some people. I don't even know if I know people that do that. I probably do, unfortunately. Would still love them, but it's unfortunate that they're into that superstitious thing. But that would be superstition. And then you have the other side, which the Catholic Church would just call like devotion to a sacramental, where you don't think the actual object has power over God, over a higher power, but this object is helping to remind you, specifically if we're talking about a Christian sacramental. I'm sure other religions have sacramentals. They wouldn't call them that, but they would have something. But in Christianity, a sacramental would be something that the object reminds you of God, reminds you of Mary, of the saints, calls your mind back to them. It supports your disposition towards God, towards the saints, and in that change of disposition or that supporting of a good disposition, it opens you up for receiving God, receiving his grace, receiving his love, etc. So the object itself doesn't have the power, but in so far as it turns your mind towards God, it's allowing you basically to receive God's power and to receive his grace. It's opening you up to receive, basically. A good example is the rosary. So the power of the rosary is not in the actual physical object of the rosary, but the rosary, when you look at it, it reminds you, hopefully, of God. The whole rosary should be pointing you back to Jesus's life, to devotion to Mary, maybe even to the apparitions of Mary. You know, Mary's always wearing one, so you have yours, she has hers. It connects you in that way. And then in praying it, you should be doing mental prayer during it, a subtle mental prayer. You are doing vocal prayers, obviously. So all of this should be reminding you of God, calling you back to God, and opening you up to receive what God has for you. So that's what a sacramental is doing. I'm sure there's better explanations, and if you have a better one, just let me know. That's how I understand it. So it's not like it's not magical where there's just no relation to the effect. There's good legitimate reasoning behind sacramentals. So this one we're talking about, and hopefully I don't keep doing that same explanation every time I talk about a sacramental, but the green scapular is kind of interesting. The brown scapular is amazing, bunch of different sacramentals. I got the miraculous medal on, amazing. But the green scapular, I would say, has this particular attraction because it has a deep simplicity. What do I mean by that? We'll get into that. Let me talk about the history of it. I didn't even know this person. So there is a sister, and I'm going to butcher this name, Sister Justine Bisqueburu. I'm so sorry, sister. You have a long name, but a beautiful name. And she was a daughter of charity. She had visions from Mother Mary, and a specific vision on September 8th, 1840. Important day. Look it up. Look up just September 8th too, but September 8th, 1840 specifically. Mary appeared to her holding her Immaculate Heart in her right hand and the green scapular in her left hand. And so this was the beginning of this devotion. She was told by the Lord that the Lord desires to increase devotion to his Blessed Mother through the devotion to the Immaculate Heart. And this is interesting because as well as this one, but Our Lady of Fatima, Our Lady of Lourdes, other apparitions, it's so much focus on the Immaculate Heart. And Jesus is very passionate about devotion to the Immaculate Heart, which we should all pay attention to. This scapular was to grant favors. This is kind of interesting. Grant favors of health of mind, heart, body, and soul. So I don't think I've heard that really in the other sacramentals. If they do say that for the other sacramentals and the apparitions and different things, I definitely don't think it's very harped upon, especially like the health of mind and body, maybe. So just to encourage you maybe to take this sacramental on. And then Mary said the devotion to the green scapular devotion would be not based on a habit. So the brown scapular is based on the Carmelite habit, but this green scapular would not be based on any religious habit. It would just be two holy images and green material. So like for the brown scapular, it's very specific. It needs to be wool, and then there's like some alternates you can use, something like that. So this one would just be two holy images, green material. There's no special formula or blessing for being initiated into this devotion. Just a regular blessed green scapular by a priest will do. And it's supposed to be worn, but you don't have to wear it. This is one of the cool things which I think has been kind of retained in the understanding of the green scapular, is that people will like put it under people's beds and stuff like that. Which when I was first coming into the church, I thought that was very weird, very superstitious. But now reading actually about it, I appreciate it more. But one of the great conveniences of this devotion, especially if you want to do this devotion for other people, is that you can have it on your person. You can have it in your pocket. You can put it near the other person, and you can say the prayers, the one prayer for them. So for the benefit of another person. So that makes sense for the bed thing because it's near them, but you can even keep it on your own person for another person. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And then, yeah, so you can say the prayers for another person. So that's the green scapular. I think the attraction of this is the accessibility. A lot of the sacramentals, which is good, I think, very specific devotions that you need to do, and it's not necessarily for other people. But the green scapular extends to other people. It can be near them. It can be on your person. You're saying the prayers, the one prayer for them. So I think that's awesome for conversions, and that's usually what it's associated with is conversions. And there's other benefits to it as well. So I think that's great. The sister is not a saint yet, as far as I know, but hopefully soon. But this seems to be a church approved devotion. I should have seen if there's any official oh, actually, no, there was. Pope Pius the Ninth in the 1800s at some time had approved this devotion. So it's solid. Yeah. So, I mean, especially if you're trying to convert someone, I really recommend this. And then I know some people worry about the superstitious aspect. I honestly, I think it's clean. I think it's fine. So I think people should take it up. I do want to read the prayer. It's a super simple prayer and just one prayer. The prayer is Immaculate Heart of Mary, pray for us now and at the hour of our death. So it's basically the end of the Hail Mary. So yeah, that's the green scapular. I 100% recommend for yourself or for others. Get it blessed, wear it, put it by someone, put it near someone. And even if they're not Catholic or even Christian, you can tell people about the benefits of this and tell them to wear it. And I think that's a great idea. Even with the brown scapular, they don't need to be Catholic or anything. Just convince them to wear it. Obviously, be kind about it, but convince them to wear it. I think everyone should do that. It's a great idea, a great way to help spread the devotion to the Immaculate Heart. And it will. We've went over Ratisbon already. How these sacramentals and these prayers very powerful. Converted Ratisbon, became a incredible priest and missionary for the church. So it's legit. I think it's legit. If this is kind of piqued your interest, look into it. Maybe get some. They're super cheap. So there's just no excuse if you think this is a good idea to not get some and start activating that. So that's the green scapular. Very short, very concise. I had the information actually. You're welcome. And so I want to get into some other things that's just been going on in the world. So that ends like the official, and this is just the after hours of the show. Right now, the lighting is looking really good for the studio. I just had a friend offer a crucifix. So I don't even know where I'd put that, but maybe up here. I don't even know. We'll figure it out. I won't figure it out. I don't know anything about making stuff look good, but it'll work out. Other stuff I wanted to talk about. Oh, this was crazy. This is just going to get political and maybe just blackpilling, but it's worth it. I don't know if it's worth it actually. I just found out, and this happened in May this month, 2026. The Archdiocese of New York is proposing an 800 million settlement to resolve claims of 1,300 survivors of clergy sexual abuse. There's a lot of things wrong with that statement. So they're proposing it. I don't know if that means that it's official yet. That's a lot of money, 800 million. And then the counter of that obviously would be, terrible things happen to these people. So it's righteous. I mean, I don't know. It's terrible if that happened to people, and I'm sure it did happen to people. 1,300 people, I'm not sure. I in the past I've understood that some of this stuff is the accusations come and the investigations are pretty bad, but I also know there's a lot of legit ones too. But I just think that's so sad for that archdiocese. 800 million, that's a lot of people's, hard work, money they put into the church. Some of it, the church, if they have to do it, and it's happened before where there's a settlement, the church will start selling off church property. It's insanely sad. And it just makes me question like the whole law procedure of the US. And then you wonder, like, is the church backing down too easily? Should they go harder? It's a difficult question, but that's something I've been thinking about today. Maybe I should look at the news less, but I like to keep informed. And it kind of shows you almost, I don't want to be too dramatic, but like the meaninglessness of money, like 800 million, like none of us will ever touch that. Or maybe there's one or two billionaires out there watching, but we really won't touch that amount of money. It's like you work your butt off for, 4 or 5 grand a month, and then the church has to pay 800 million. You tithe. It's a whole thing. God's got us, God's got the children, but incredibly disheartening. But we got to keep faith. And there's some other ones too. I'm not even going to go through them. There's a list of different settlements, and it's just sad. A lot of it has to do with New York too, which is obviously very sketch. Super sketch. The other thing I wanted to hit up, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the collapse in reading scores in the US. I don't know if you guys know my opinion. Like, I don't even know if reading is, I love reading. So I don't want to like gaslight anyone. I love reading. But like this obsession we have with literacy in the US, I guess it's a good thing. I don't know. I have a weird opinion about it. But it's crazy that the I think there was like 5 states only that their reading scores didn't decline. So basically, and I'm looking at research from there's 3 universities, from Harvard, Stanford, and Dartmouth, if you trust those people. The 3rd to 8th grade scores in 38 states decreased. But then it is comparing it between certain years. So you could say, how high do they need to be? Apparently, they're saying a lot of the kids are like a grade or a half grade behind, which doesn't sound terrible. But the the implication of it is like the children coming up right now don't know how to read or read well. I would believe it, honestly. And this might tie into our next story because it has to do with Thomas Massey. I would believe that people, it's not even the problem of like literacy. I think it's the problem of critical thinking. And I don't even know if you can probably teach critical thinking. I think you probably can. But if some people just doesn't seem, maybe because of addiction or laziness, they don't want to think critically. I don't know what it is, but I thought it was kind of funny. I'm always joking about not being able to read, or people don't need to be able to read. People take it very seriously, though. People get very offended when I say that. I just don't know if it's that important. But I love reading. It is important, reading the scriptures. That's another thing that ties in with the whole Protestant sola scriptura. Is like sola scriptura wouldn't even be possible pre-printing press. Like, what if society regressed and we didn't print books anymore, and what would happen with sola scriptura? Or you couldn't even read it. Everyone's just illiterate, and it's like sola scriptura was like, I can't read this document you have in front of me. That's the Bible. Oh, I can't read it. So it's an interesting topic. It was so funny, and they're relating it to COVID, which makes sense for sure. And the next one, kind of related to people can't read or understand anything, is Thomas Massey. I don't know if you guys saw this. And I think the vote ends on the 19th, so we're gonna find out in a couple days. But he's down in the polls right now. I don't agree with everything Thomas Massey. He's a libertarian. I'm not really of the Libertarian Party. I'm not at all of the Libertarian Party, but I respect him, and I think a lot of people respect him, whether they're left, right, libertarian or not. And he's basically going to be, it seems, according to the polls, trust the polls as much as you want. He's going to be ousted. They're running like these smear campaigns against him, and the people ages of like 56 and up are just eating it. They're just eating it up. He's down, I don't know, 5-10 points right now. That would be crazy. And this makes me think of the media. I've been reading, I always read GK, and he was dealing with this 100 years ago, where he was fighting people because everyone in England, for whatever reason, not everyone, a lot of people trusted the press. And GK was like, what is this disposition? Like, this is so weird. You're basically just trusting a bunch of rich people that have very specific angles and points that they want you to believe, and they're manipulating you. And I'm getting an important call, so I'll finish this up. But today, it's the same as GK had it 100 years ago. Is people are not thinking critically. Like these smear campaigns, if you just look into it for 2 seconds, you're like, there are no substantial claims here, but people are just going to read a headline. That's the big thing, is everyone's just clipping headlines and like factoring it into their whole way of life. And it's like, that's not healthy. That's not good. And I thought Trump kinda was making big moves with that in 2016, saying, fake news, everyone was on fake news, fake news. But I don't know, it seems maybe that's gone away or like the people just understood as fake news as from one of the big television channels, but now that it's on social media, they you know, can't correlate the same thing that's happening with television was happening with social media. So yeah, don't trust everything you read in a headline. If it's important or it's gonna cause you to make a decision, like really dig into it and see how legitimate it is. Usually it's not difficult to see what people are trying to do, how they're trying to manipulate you, whether they're telling the truth or not. They want you to do something. In this case, they want people to vote for Thomas Massey's opposer, and he's getting huge support from some heavy duty lobbies. The APAC tracker, this dude's got like 9 million, which I've never seen that high in APAC. I don't even think for like a presidential APAC tracker. Um, and Thomas Mass is just grassroots at this point. He might have some big ones, but I don't recall right now. So that's some of the big topics is like the media, the reading, the literacy. These are interesting topics for sure. But that's all I got for you guys tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Please comment, like, subscribe. God bless you. God be with you. And I'll see you in the next one. Good night.